The area around Lake Neusiedl is one of the most important bird sanctuaries in Europe. This is the home of the great white egret, the emblem of the national park. More than 700 pairs breed in the reeds annually, which is half of the European great white egret population. Lake Neusiedl is a borderland, with part of the lake lying in Austria and part of it in Hungary. And this is true of the national park as well. It covers 300 square kilometers stretching across the border. The reeds are gradually taking over the lake. At the turn of the 20th century, reeds covered about 100 square kilometers. Today, the reeds cover almost twice that area. The reeds form the heart of this landscape, regulating the microclimate, acting as a windbreak, cleansing the water like a huge filter, and above all, providing shelter and protection. Reed warblers inhabit all the reed beds, depending on the type, in various zones and tiers. Great reed warblers build their nests suspended between reed stems above the water, a house on stilts for the chicks, which hatch in May. Reed warblers mainly feed on insects and larvae. The young have to be fed for about 2 weeks, non-stop, because the offspring are always hungry. Great reed warblers nest near the water, but the reed warblers nest nearer to land. An egg has been laid in this one's nest. A young cuckoo, twice as big as the parents, is threatening to disrupt the nest. Thankfully, the reed warblers know nothing of their fate. A blazing red throat means the cuckoo is hungry. The secret stars of the reeds are the harvest mice. They live on the edge of the lake, in the tangle of reeds and grass. They form communities in the reeds. This is where they feed and sleep. Here they build their nests in summer. With their flexible tails, they resemble tiny monkeys. They're about 12 centimeters long, including their tail, and weigh about 10 grams. The round nests are prepared with the skill of a basket weaver. It only takes a few hours to build the nest, which is about the size of a fist. The female gets a lot of practice, as she gives birth up to 6 times a year and builds the same number of nests. Giving birth is easy, as a newborn harvest mouse weighs just 1 gram and is 2 centimeters long. The naked young seem helpless, but in just 5 weeks they reach maturity. Further away, the old entangled reeds are inhabited by one of the most beautiful and rarest birds in the country. The spoonbill used to be very rarely seen on Lake Neusiedl, but now more than 20 pairs are breeding again in the national park. A moment as rare as the blue Mauritius stamp, a family of spoonbills in a colony in the core zone of the national park. In May, the young are hatched. Invisible to the visitors to the park, they won't appear in public until August, as elegant gliders, hovering above the ponds for fish. In the middle of this maze of reeds is a hidden kingdom. Small ponds with crystal clear water, less than ½ a meter deep. Flowering water plants, colors and light, a magical window in the middle of a murky lake. This is where millions of young fish of various species assemble, more or less protected en masse from hunters. Almost all the species of fish in Lake Neusiedl inhabit the reeds. Ruds, for example, live exclusively in the reeds, and this pond in the lake provides food, protection, and a spawning ground. Many fish also hunt along the water's edge, but the perch lurks in the reeds waiting for prey. The lake is known to many visitors as a recreational area. But strange things happen in the murky water under the glistening surface. Strangely, these fish have found their way into the lake. They are minnows, which normally live in running water, such as the Danube. They spend their whole life in the lake and reproduce here as well. Unlike other fish which lay their spawn in the reeds, they lay them in the middle of the lake. Just a short walk away from the lake and reeds are the saline ponds, a natural habitat making Lake Neusiedl so unique. Flocks of birds from all over Europe stop here to rest, feed and breed. In the summer, when the young birds are fully fledged, the ponds become a meeting point for anything with wings. Great white egrets, spoonbills and other migrants arrive daily to gain strength for the great journey south. This is where the spoonbill lives up to his name, scooping through mud and water for small crayfish. Fish can hardly survive in the shallow ponds. The great variety in such a small area makes the ponds unique, but also susceptible. Birds, such as the avocet, need the national park to protect the territories which have been subtly split up. Understandably, it is prohibited to go into the embankment area. Black-tailed godwits breed in the protected marshes around the ponds, right next to the lapwings, who lay their eggs in flat nests in April. The nests of the plovers are even more at risk. They lay their eggs on small strips of sand near the banks. Redshanks make their nests a few meters away in the grass. A remarkable hunter lives in this paradise for birds, the marsh harrier. This is a unique bird of prey which makes its nest in the reeds and hunts. The young don't hatch until July, as marsh harriers breed late. The family is fed by the male from the beginning of the breeding time. The nest is hidden on the edge of the reeds. The food consists of amphibians, birds, and small mammals. Marsh harriers are the slow coaches amongst the young birds. The young can't fly until August, when most other birds are preparing to return home. This is also part of the national park. Strips of wood, grass and meadows on both sides of the border. These are protected areas, homes to endangered species. Great bustards are the heaviest birds in the world which are able to fly. In the mating season in April, the bustards gather, eyeing each other up. Just after dawn, the heavy cocks, weighing up to 20 kilograms, begin their courtship. They make contact majestically slowly, and despite the great excitement, the hen remains aloof. Not many people ever get to see this spectacle. The great bustards keep their distance and fly away at the slightest movement. These great bustards have paired up, but their future is uncertain. Bustards are in danger of becoming extinct in the whole of Europe. Their world of wide, lonely stepped plains doesn't exist anymore. Sanctuaries such as Lake Neusiedl National Park are their last refuge. The remains of the old puszta, with its typical grazing pastures, can be found here. They are preserved by an old breed of farm animal, the rare Hungarian grey cattle. A herd of these is grazing on the Hungarian side of the national park, another on the Austrian side. The cattle and their manure nourish a wide variety of plants and animals, as well as an underground world. In spring, horned dung beetles are lured to the cowpats. The manure is their elixir of life, providing food, building material, and an entrance to the underworld. Their wide heads look like excavator shovels. They disappear after barely a minute, diving down into the soil, where they mate and build a maze of channels. They have an ingenious trick. They burrow into the cowpat from within and take the material through the tunnels 40 centimeters deeper into their breeding ground. The females then make balls out of the manure. This provides food for the larvae, which develop inside. In August, the fully developed beetles hatch out of these artistic cradles. But the most magnificent spectacle of nature of the year takes place on the lake and ponds, the migration of geese. In October, the winter forces the geese from the cold north to Lake Neusiedler. They spend the nights in the ponds and fly to their feeding ground every morning against the backdrop of the distant Schneeberg mountain. First of all, the grey-leg geese return from the north, then the bean geese, then finally the white-fronted geese from the Siberian tundra. During the day, they spread out to feed in the surrounding fields, returning late in the afternoon. At the beginning of November, about 30,000 geese assemble here and head for home in seemingly never-ending formations. And, sun permitting, the sky above the steppe lake becomes a vivid screen.